You ever notice that no matter how high you turn up the heat in your house, after 20 minutes, it just feels normal again? That's not a broken furnace. That's exactly how a thermostat is designed to work. It doesn't let the room get warmer than the number you set. It just burns more fuel to keep things exactly the same. Your life runs on the same kind of dial, and almost nobody figures that out until they've spent a decade pouring in fuel for nothing. Maya found this out the hard way. She'd been a dental hygienist for 6 years when her office manager retired, and Maya got the job instead. A 30% raise, just like that. She remembers sitting in her car in the parking lot doing the math twice because she didn't trust the first number. For the first few weeks, everything felt lighter. She switched to the boutique gym 2 blocks from her old one, the one with the eucalyptus towels and the instructor who knew her name. She started getting her nails done every 2 weeks instead of whenever. She signed up for valet parking at work instead of circling the block for 15 minutes. None of it felt like a decision. It felt like finally being able to breathe. 7 months later, she sat down to refinance her car and realized her savings account had exactly $340 more in it than the day she got promoted. Not 7 months of a 30% raise, $340 total. She went looking for the leak, like someone checking a tire, and there wasn't one leak. There were 40 small ones, none bigger than a paperclip, all hissing air out at the same time. That's the part nobody warns you about a raise. It doesn't feel like winning money. It feels like upgrading the temperature your whole life is allowed to live at. And once you raise it, you can't remember what the old, cooler version of normal even felt like. Here's a stranger story. A guy named Frank won $11,000 on a scratch ticket at a gas station outside Reno. Not life-changing money, but real money. He paid off his truck, bought a used bass boat, took his wife to Cabo. For about 4 months, Frank told everyone who'd listen that winning that ticket was the best thing that ever happened to him. By the following spring, the boat was sitting in the driveway with a flat trailer tire he kept meaning to fix, and Frank was complaining about money exactly as much as he had the year before the ticket. Nothing was stolen from Frank. His own internal thermostat just quietly reset itself around the new amount, the same way it always does, for everyone, every time. This is the part that should actually bother you. The dial doesn't ask permission before it resets. It just does it, silently, in the background, while you're busy being happy about the money. Now think about all the small dials nobody's watching at all. Maya, around the same time as her raise, signed up for a flower subscription. Fresh bouquet delivered every other Tuesday, $34 a month, because her coworker had one and her desk looked sad without it. 6 weeks later, her desk had a different plant on it that she'd actually bought herself, and the flower subscription kept showing up anyway, because she'd never gone back to cancel it. 11 months, almost $400, for flowers she stopped looking at by week 3. That's the second kind of leak, the kind that doesn't even need you to keep choosing it. You choose it once, and then your past self just keeps spending your future money without checking in. A wine club you joined during a slow Tuesday at home. An extra insurance add-on a salesman talked you into 18 months ago, just in case. A cloud storage upgrade for photos of a trip you took once. You're not spending that money today. You're paying interest on a decision you don't even remember making. A friend of Maya's, James, got invited to his old college roommate's wedding in Charleston. Good job, good marriage, by every account doing fine. And still, the week before the wedding, he leased a car for 3 days. Not bought, leased, for a wedding weekend. Because everyone from his graduating class was going to be in that parking lot, and he didn't want to be the guy who pulled up in a 5-year-old Corolla. He drove it for 72 hours, parked it where people would see it, and handed the keys back on Monday morning to go drive the Corolla to work like nothing happened. He never told anyone what it cost him. He just told them it was a great wedding. Nobody forces you to do that. You do it because somewhere along the way, looking fine became more urgent than being fine. And the cruelest part is, the money that disappears into looking fine is the exact money that could have eventually made things actually fine. Here's where it gets dangerous. 6 weeks after that wedding, James was at a backyard barbecue when an old coworker pulled him aside by the cooler and started talking about a property deal. Pre-construction, only available to a small group. In 18 months, you flip it for double. James didn't say yes because he's reckless. He said yes because he was tired of watching his own thermostat reset every single time he tried to get ahead. And somebody finally offered him a way to skip the whole slow, boring climb. He wired $4,000 to a group chat full of people he'd never met. The property never broke ground. The group chat went quiet 8 months later. What James actually bought that day wasn't a property. It was a few weeks of relief. The feeling that the long, grinding plan he'd been working for years finally had a shortcut. And the moment he believed that, he quietly stopped doing the slow thing that was actually working. Because why grind for 10 years when somebody just handed you a 10-week version? That belief is the most expensive purchase any of these people made. And it's the one that never even shows up on a statement. So here's where all three of them ended up. Maya, Frank, James. 3 completely different lives, the exact same dial. Every time more heat came into the system, whether it was a raise, a windfall, a new subscription, or just the fear of being seen as behind, the thermostat quietly recalibrated itself to match. They never got warmer. They just paid more to stay at the same temperature they started at. Maya is the one who finally noticed it, on an ordinary Thursday almost a year after her promotion. She was paying bills at her kitchen table when her actual house thermostat clicked on behind her. That small mechanical sound it makes when it kicks the furnace into gear to chase a number that never moves. And something about that sound made her stop. She got up, walked over, and for the first time in years, instead of letting the dial do whatever it wanted, she turned it down herself. 2 degrees. On purpose. Then she sat back down, opened her banking app, and canceled the flower subscription she hadn't looked at in 8 months. It didn't fix anything that night. Her balance the next morning looked almost exactly the same as it had the morning before. But that's not really the point, and it never was. The dial was never going to stop resetting on its own. It isn't built to. The only thing that was ever going to change anything is a hand reaching out and turning it on purpose, instead of just living inside whatever temperature it quietly settles on for you.